Hello and welcome to our latest webinar. Today I will be discussing how to approach the conversation about care with your loved ones and the topics you ideally need to discuss in order to plan for their future. Did you know that there are approximately 10 million people over the age 65 in the UK, which is 1 in 6 of us? So it's likely that helping loved ones to make informed choices in later life will come to many of us. Introducing the subject of care and support with someone close to you is daunting and a difficult prospect, especially when they've always led an independent life and they may not recognise that they need help and feel that they're actually coping well. We know those close to us and the things they like, but do we know what their wishes are for their later years of their life? Ideally, we need to start the conversation early, when there are no problems, discussing openly what their wishes and preferences for the future are. Unfortunately, in some families, this does not happen, resulting in conversations when there's a crisis or making decisions under pressure. Even with best intentions, the decisions then made may not be what the person has wished for. And having the conversation about care early will ensure that your loved one feels in control and reassured that they will maintain their independence. How to start the conversation? Be informed. Know what's available, what to consider, and how to navigate the information that is out there. You will then be equipped to help yourself or a loved one to achieve the outcome they want, and it will make the conversation easier. Feelings can be more important than facts, especially for those experiencing short-term memory loss. So how you approach the conversation will impact on how you leave them feeling and their willingness to discuss further. It is important to ensure that they do not feel you are questioning all of their abilities to cope day to day. Ensure a calm approach and focus on the area that you are most concerned about. Use open questions or statements, as these will give room for personal expression of how they're feeling, rather than the opportunity to say yes or no and move on. You do not have to discuss everything all at once. This can overwhelm a person needing help. Give them time for consideration. Talk in bite-sized pieces over a period of time and keep the conversation positive. Listen and validate that you have heard their opinions and thoughts, as this will give you the opportunity to explore options and to plan further discussions. If your loved one is experiencing problems with memory loss or communication, it can be hard or even too late to express opinions and feelings when help is needed. This can leave families with the dilemma of finding support and not always knowing what their loved one's preferences are. There are websites and documents that can help your loved ones plan forward for the future and make a guide on how they want to be cared for and what their likes and dislikes are. These are enormously helpful for families who have not had the conversation prior to this. You can find the Alzheimer's Society's This Is Me support tool at the following website. Dementia UK also has lots of helpful information. Who can make decisions? We all believe that we will always be able to make decisions throughout our lives, and this is mainly true, but there are situations when we need someone else to help us. It's important to know that the concept of next of kin being able to make decisions on behalf of loved ones is not correct. Organisations such as banks, service providers, local government, and even medical services such as GPs will refuse to speak to anyone other than the individual whose name is on a contract or an account. They won't talk to you unless there is a registered lasting power of attorney in place for the person. This can be highly frustrating when you're only trying to help, but the law is there to protect the individual from abuse. A good way to approach this conversation is to express that appointing someone to ensure their wishes are carried out is important. Explain that they can choose that person and give examples of things that you would not be able to help with without the documented permissions. Be prepared that it may not be you that they choose, and be open to supporting their decisions, because the important point is they will have someone they trust acting on their behalf. There is more information on the government websites on making decisions on behalf of somebody. And you can find these at www.gov.makedecisions4someone. What about financial planning? We work hard through our lives to save for our future and a comfortable retirement. A lot of people will have a pension in place to take care of everyday living and a little extra for perhaps a holiday. We do not always factor in that we may face a situation where our savings need to be used to pay for later life care. It is important to know that there are steps that you can take to put financial help into place. A later life financial planner has the expertise to help you. Should you consider downsizing? Many retired people with families consider downsizing when their children have left. This is a good opportunity to begin a new phase of life, perhaps moving into a property that is easier to manage or closer to family members, or where it's easier for them to maintain an independent life. When making the move, it's wise to consider future-proofing your home in case you need to make adaptations to help you remain independent. If you are moving to rural locations, consider the local transport available and the amenities you could access without a car. If you're moving to a much smaller home, think about how your house will work for you if you become incapacitated or need adaptations made, and whether there's room for someone to stay with you. Choosing care. There are a variety of options when looking into care, from companionship a few times a week, hourly care every day, or living care delivered 24/7 permanently or as a short-term intervention. These options, when blended over time, can offer support to your loved one to remain in their own home and enables couples to stay together also. If home care is not your preferred route, there is also the option to move into a residential or a structured environment. The best way to approach the conversation about care is to first understand where your loved one wants to live and what input they expect from a care provider. Bear in mind, not all providers are registered with the Care Quality Commission, who regulates services in line with the Care Act 2014. Not all care providers take responsibility for training or ensuring the carers they introduce, and not all carers are employed and supervised by the care provider, meaning you hold employer responsibility. However, if you choose a regulated provider, you can look up their inspection report where you can see how they have performed overall. You can read their inspection reports, as it may help you to decide. There are also providers and reviews on other sites such as homecare.co.uk and the livingcarehub.co.uk, where you can find information and impartial advice. In summary, discussing later life care and support can feel like a daunting prospect. It's interlinked with legal and financial implications for many, and most only address this in a crisis. So we urge you to involve everyone, understand what's available, get advice, and build a toolkit. Hopefully you will never need it, but if you do, it will make the conversation much easier. However you approach it, it's critical that you start the conversation as soon as possible.